All right, so today I am joined by actor Devin Kawaoka. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Danny.
Of course, thank you for joining me. So, Devin, I love to begin by talking about your involvement with the Apple TV Plus series Shrinking, which premiered its second season on October 16th. First off, what makes the show worth checking out?
Oh, I mean, uh, the cast is incredible. The even beyond their acting chops, which are ferocious, to say the least, they're the kindest people that I've ever worked with, from top to bottom, every single one of them. And like it shows in their work and it shows in the relationships in the show. And I feel like one of my favorite things about watching the show is that it always feels like a really good hang. You
Really?
know, when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling happy, when you're feeling like you just want to hang out with your friends, it's a really good hang. And on top of that, the characters themselves are always going through moments of vulnerability where they have this facade where they're pretending everything's okay, and then something happens that makes them break, and we all go through that. So not only does it feel like you're hanging with your friends, but you're getting to, like, I don't know, learn lessons and see examples of people really struggling and overcoming.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I mean, Shrinking stars Jason Segel, Jessica Williams, Harrison Ford, who I've admired since Star Wars because I'm a big Star Wars fan. And
Yeah.
you play Charlie, right? That's your or
Yes,
Charles.
Charlie.
Charlie,
Correct.
yeah, the fiance of Brian, who is played by Michael Urie. So I can only imagine like what it's like to be around these all stars and just getting to hang out with them, like you said, and just like what experience are you gaining from this?
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, at a certain point, no, it's not true. Actually, I think that, whenever I get to do a scene with any of them,
Mhm.
but obviously, particularly Harrison Ford, I grew up watching The Fugitive and Indiana Jones and Star Wars. And, whenever I get to do a scene with him, I always think to myself, wow, I did something right. Like, I think we've done it.
Yeah.
Um, and at the same time, it just becomes we're just coworkers, friends, and the time that we get to hang when we're off camera is always so special. And I look back when I first met Harrison. My first scene with him was in season one. It was the proposal scene when we got sort of interrupted by him being high and eating Doritos. And um, uh, he was so warm and charming back then that even like when we were done with the scene, he came up to us and said, you guys are doing such great work, like so welcoming, always really encouraging. And he's been like that ever since. He's just incredible.
That's awesome. Love it. So, what can we expect from Charlie this season?
Yeah, so last we left off on season one, Charlie and Brian got married. I hope that's not a spoiler for anyone. But anyways, we got married. And it was a beautiful wedding. And, Charlie and Brian are like yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
Brian always has all this anxiety. Charlie is very like patient and calm and welcoming. And with any new marriage, I think there are things that you discover that you didn't know that you needed to talk about,
Yeah.
or assumptions that you made about each other. And then all of a sudden you're forced with faced with these big life questions around what is your life going to look like? Where are you going to live? What kind of family are you going to have? Are you going to have a family? And of course, as typical, we see Brian sort of have to deal with his anxiety and his need
Yeah.
for control in those environments. And on top of that, I would say that we get to know a little bit more about Charlie's inner workings and what
Yeah.
Charlie is anxious about. So it's going to be pretty special.
Yes, definitely. Do you believe Brian and Charlie are being portrayed authentically and they're good for queer representation on television?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, both Michael and I are in loving partnerships with in queer relationships.
Mm.
And we have a similar what is it, like a friend group.
Okay.
And so when we get together, we come with the same values, and the building of that relationship is uh so organic to
Okay.
us, or at least to me. I guess I shouldn't speak for Michael, but it felt so organic to me. It felt the minute that I saw the audition sides in the first season, I knew exactly who this man was, what our relationship was, how much I loved him, and it helped that I knew Michael personally and that I could see his face.
Nice.
And even though these things are separate from us, they're also parts of us,
Yeah.
right? And I think, at least for my part, and I think Michael would agree, like I'm really living Charlie, as I do live my life with
Hmm.
kindness and that we're all humans and that sometimes our chosen families are even more important than our born into families because our chosen families can be just as supportive, if not more.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So you knew Michael before shrinking?
Yes, we played Mafia together during the pandemic.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
nice. So it's kind of even better for you two that you already knew each other and going into this project, like, oh, okay, it's a familiar face, and you really got to build that chemistry even more, and everything just happened like it's just happened organically.
Yeah, I feel so lucky. He because not only is he a consummate professional and also so talented and fun to work with, but also to get to have that friendship already built in is really special.
Definitely. So, what specifically drew you to shrinking? Why did you want to be a part of this project?
I mean, the talent attached alone was
Okay.
enough to say yes.
So
And
you knew who was going to be involved before you auditioned?
yeah, I remember it had been announced that, well, obviously Jason Segel, because he had created it, and Bill Lawrence, I mean, Ted Lasso, Scrubs, I
Yeah.
mean, Brett Goldstein, Ted Lasso. I mean, these people are incredible. And Michael had been announced. And so I mean, I just leaped at the opportunity. What's so funny? I wouldn't even say leapt. I just felt it came my way, and I just felt like I knew who Charlie was, and
Okay.
I knew that I wanted to be a part of it.
Mhm, definitely. So,
Yeah.
is there a has it been confirmed that there's going to be a season three yet?
I don't know. That's above my pay grade. You're gonna have to ask Apple.
Okay, well, if we get to a season three,
Oh
which
wait, no, it has been confirmed.
okay, it has been confirmed. Okay,
It
okay,
has been confirmed. It got renewed. Sorry. Oh my God.
okay,
I just
okay, okay.
forgot. It got
All right, there you go.
it got announced in the press last week at when they
Okay,
were at Con.
okay, perfect. Then, is there a direction you would like to see Charlie's character go in?
Oh, I mean, I think just on this question that you ask about what is it to the show does such a good job at exploring what it is to be a human in this world.
Yeah.
And I think Charlie shows a really calm demeanor, but underneath there is a nervousness just as much as there is for Brian. It may not be as forward as his
Mhm.
is or as loud, but it's there. And yeah, I would love to see him. You know what? I would really love to see him have more mentorship and friendship with, I mean, specifically Ted McGinley. I think that there's a lot of who plays Derek and Liz, who plays Krista Miller, who plays Liz,
Okay.
that the two of them have gone through this family. They've built a family. They have older kids.
Mhm.
And if uh, Brian and Charlie decide to build a family, that they would be great mentors and people to sort of have learn stuff with, along with, like, how to change a diaper or how to not prioritize game night over your children, things like that. Things that I think Charlie and Brian are going to be rudely awakened by, since they've been living sort of lots of disposable income
Mhm.
lifestyle.
Yes, yes, perfect. Well, besides shrinking, you also have a recurring role in Chicago Med as Dr. Kite Tanaka Reed, who has
Yeah.
gained significant prominence. What has been the biggest challenge of portraying a surgical resident in a medical drama?
Sorry, ask that question again.
What has been the biggest challenge of portraying a surgical resident in a medical drama?
The challenge.
Yes.
Um, Obviously the medical stuff is very challenging, like not being a doctor myself. Spoiler. Um, Saying some of the the medical terms, stuff like that, like in such a fluid way, can be a tongue twister.
Oh
But
yeah.
as you get sort of used to it over time, it becomes second nature, and you sort of start to learn not obviously I can't be a doctor, but I look, you sort of learn like how diagnoses are going to go, or like how things, and you start to have ideas about how best to treat things. It's fun. And so I would say the medical stuff is always a challenge when we have to do surgical rehearsals or medical rehearsals or learn stuff like that. Um, but otherwise, yeah, you get used to it over time.
Yeah. Well, what have you enjoyed the most about bringing this character to life?
Oh, I love that he is so different from Charlie.
Okay.
Charlie is the sweetest husband that ever existed in the entire world, and Kai is not that. Kai is the least sweet person, not even a husband. So only on totally on his own, traveling out into the world, trying to be the best surgeon that he possibly can be, and will say so,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
will give his opinion very firmly and maybe sometimes arrogantly. And I really enjoy uh I enjoy getting to play that part of myself. I mean, obviously I'm not an arrogant surgeon myself, but I sometimes I have arrogant surgeon thoughts, and it's
Yeah.
nice to be able to let them out.
Yes, yes. Well, no matter what you do or what role you play, what do you always hope audiences take away from your work?
I I think that every character that I play has a part of me in it.
Yeah.
I am the kindest husband in the world. I am an arrogant surgeon at times. And that, when you watch a character, you're really seeing a piece of humanity being explored. And that every time I'm doing something, I'm sort of exploring something about myself that I haven't learned yet, or something that I want to throw around. Um, and so every character you see is really not me, right?
Mhm.
Because it's only a part of me, but also it's representing a part of humanity that has wants and needs and desires and isn't always perfect,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Charlie's not the perfect husband, nor is Kai the perfect surgeon. Don't ever say that out loud to him. But like that those flaws are what make people people and people relatable. And I love getting to portray those things on TV.
Perfect. Well, Devin, the last time we spoke, you were in the groundbreaking play Slave Play, which was nominated for 12 Tony Awards. What was it like to be part of such a culturally and socially impactful production?
I mean, it was an honor. It was an honor to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah.
It was Jeremy O. Harris wrote a really visceral, vibrant play that created reaction and disbelief and people feeling seen and people feeling not seen. And to be able to lend my body and my mind to that conversation for the people seeing it for the first time or the second time or the third time was a real honor. And I really thank Jeremy O'Harris and Robert O'Hara for giving me that opportunity. It was a complex, the play dealt with complex issues, and the room was always really beautifully safe and comfortable for us to explore those issues.
Yeah.
And being able to do that was, yeah, an honor, as I said.
Awesome. And last time we also touched on the challenges of finding work in the industry because of your biracial background. Do you feel like that has changed at all?
Yeah, I actually, I just am, well, I don't want to be too too enthusiastic. But I do think I do see a change in the sense that I think there's more education out there that people who are biracial are
Well,
part what they are part. Does
yeah.
that make sense? And
Yeah.
that it used to be a little bit more erasure or passing, or if you're not whole all this, then who are you, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's just more examples in the media of people being biracial and speaking out about being biracial. And I have noticed, I mean, Kai Tanaka Reed is a great example of someone who they acknowledged was biracial. And when the character's name was not originally Tanaka Reed, it was something else. And when I got cast, they changed it to a hyphenated last name, which
Oh,
acknowledged that background.
nice.
Um, I think that more often now I'm not just auditioning for Asian roles or roles without, I'm auditioning for roles and then I come as the actor and they're like, oh, this is the actor, this is their race, and we're going to honor that.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that even happens in Shrinking season 2, which is very
Nice.
exciting.
Awesome. Love it. Now, initially, you never intended on pursuing acting, did you?
Uh, no, well,
You were kind of you were a skier, weren't you?
yeah, I skied
Okay.
and I don't know what happened actually. One day I fell in love with like doing plays and being in rehearsal, and I was training for the Olympics at the same time as I was uh uh as the same time as I was in rehearsals, and then just one over the other. And I remember specifically my junior year, I was in a play, and my father was my ski coach.
Okay.
And I remember I had to make a difficult decision to be in the play rather than continue to be on the ski team and go to practice. And it was sort of clear that I wasn't loving practice these days.
Yeah.
And when I just remember the call. I was at my friend Annie's house, and my dad called and he said, "So, are you going to go to ski practice tonight or what's happening?" And he sort of confronted me about like the decision I was making. I was like, "No, I think I'm falling in love with acting more."
Hmm.
I'm always, when I think about it though, I'm sort of sad because I still love being on the mountain. I
Yeah.
love being out there, and I love the discipline of training. And um, it was it was a really special, skiing is a really like solo
Hmm.
sport, and you
Yeah.
spend a lot of time with yourself and competing against yourself. And I sort of miss that discipline and that quietness.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I get that. But do you feel like that acting is what you were meant to do?
Yes.
Yes. Hmm.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have chosen, this business is so hard
Yeah.
that to choose it is really risky. And um, if you find yourself still wanting to do it, even with all of the trials and tribulations of it, I think it's what you're meant to do.
Yeah. Hmm. I agree. Definitely. Well,
Yeah.
Devin, what are some future goals you hope to accomplish with your career in the next couple of years?
Yeah. Well, I'd really like to play I'd like to play a villain if I
Okay.
can. I'm really feeling like I want to I don't know what I imagine it to be in some type of like family drama for some reason, where it's
Okay.
like a guy who's like he's this person who shows up and sort of like messes up the entire world of everything that's happening.
Okay.
Um,
I can see you as a Disney villain. Not gonna lie.
ooh,
I can see
okay.
you as some kind of Disney villain.
I love that. Would there be, is that, I hope it's live action and not animated.
Yes, I
Though,
can feel live action. Yes.
well,
I,
honestly, to be an animated character would be fun too.
I don't know. I can see like maybe like something like maybe Jafar-esque or something like that. I can really
Ooh,
see something like that.
queer icon, Jafar,
Yes,
right?
yes, queer icon Jafar. I love it. If I were ever to pursue acting or anything like that, because I do community theater every now and then, and I've always had an interest in acting. Something villainous is something like I just love. I mean, I've always been drawn to those characters. It seems like a lot of queer people are always kind of drawn to the villainous characters for some reason because it's kind of like the whole outsider thing that they can really connect and relate to it. But yeah, like Disney villain, that I would love to do my Disney villain era.
Yeah, exactly. I also think there's something about like the transgressive nature of being a villain, that you can
Yes.
cross boundaries, right? I think we
Mhm.
spend a lot of time as queer people in spaces being like, I don't want to offend, or how am I affecting you? Or like, really like
Mhm.
putting up walls so that we don't affect other people. And then when you get to be a villain, it's like, no, no, now deal with me.
Yes. I can also maybe see like a crossover, like something like from him from the Powerpuff Girls, something like along those lines.
Hmm.
I want to see this play out for you. I really do.
I love that.
All right, Devin. Well, how can one stay up to date with you?
You can catch me on Instagram at Devin Kawaoka. And of course, you can watch Shrinking on Apple TV Plus now until Christmas. An episode will drop each week. And you can always catch me on Chicago Med on NBC on Wednesday nights.
Perfect. Then before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
No, you know what? This is my focus. It's Shrinking and Chicago Med. So I'm feeling pretty lucky these days.
All right, there we go. Perfect.